Hi Scorpio, welcome to your mid-October 2019 General Tarot Update. It's Rena here. So, as I record this, we're building up to a full moon in the sign of Aries. You have a connection with Aries in the sense that you are co-ruled with Mars. Aries is ruled by Mars. Aries has that warrior energy, but Scorpio has that as well. Now your other ruler, and I think this one is the one that people really associate with Scorpio, is Pluto. But Aries is definitely a Martian energy, and you have that yourself. And so this full moon is falling in your 6th house. So this is the house of health and the house of work. This can be a time when if you've been having problems at work, things come to a head, things come to the surface. Maybe with co-workers. We'll see what the cards say, if there's any resonance with that. Who knows, maybe you'll get a promotion even, or some kind of advancement. And it's funny because as I record this, it's a few days before that full moon, which is on the 13th. And so this is, the 13th is a little bit before the middle of the month. But because I'm recording this now, time is a fluid thing, isn't it? Okay. And so I'm wondering if there's a Cancer male, especially in the picture here. So if this is more of a relationship situation, I don't know. The heart of the matter is the Chariot, and this is a card that is associated with Cancer, another water sign of yours, so sister water sign. And you can see that the man is holding the reins of the horse. I never noticed that this looks like kind of a king, a royalty kind of a figure. And see how he's got the moon in that, whatever that thing is. This card is connected to success, to being able to kind of harness your what do they call it? Marshal your forces, or harness your imagination, your attention, so that you can complete your task. And maybe that's how you're doing it. So that might suggest that there were a lot of things going on around you, but you were able to accomplish something that you wanted to accomplish. And you have experienced success because of this. This could be a Cancer person that is in your life. Also, there could be a situation involving transportation or travel with the Chariot card as well. And interestingly, with the travel situation, Cancer for you is the 9th house, and that does deal with long distance travel and things like that, and that's where your North Node is transiting through in Cancer. So during this time period, and this goes into 2020 actually, for some Scorpios, travel is not only indicated, but it's like kind of like a destiny for you. Like it may come about in an unexpected way, but it's meant to put you in a new place so that you can experience certain things that you need to experience. So in other words, when I say destiny, I'm not saying that it's not free will though. I mean, you may have plotted out certain key events in your life before you even came here. And one of them may have been to move away from, let's say, your homeland, go somewhere else, and that's where you meet your soulmate, or that's where you know, and then that's where you have your children, or whatever, your life's work, or something like that. So sometimes we have to go somewhere else in order to fulfill our mission. So that could be it definitely as well. In the past position, we have the Knight of Swords, and this is a card that is both air energy and fire energy, and in an individual, this can be sometimes like a lawyer or a writer, a journalist, somebody like that. If there is, if this is a person from your past, they may have been kind of immature, and somebody that you had an affair with, but it never really lasted, or perhaps even a partner and you've won a divorce case or something like that, because actually looking at the higher message, we have the Five of Swords, and this can be a card of deception, especially involving other people. So for instance, if you were with somebody who cheated on you and they told others bad things, like they smeared you and things like that, you might be the victor in the end. And this could be a work situation for sure. That's why I mentioned that full moon. I always think of that Five of Swords as being kind of work related, and the co-workers kind of being very two-faced and things like that. Definitely can involve other people besides this one individual. And interesting that swords are involved. So it could be like false communication, and the person might literally be an air sign who's doing this, the perpetrator. So Gemini, Aquarius, that's the one that you probably find yourself with a lot of times, or Libra. And this person may be two-faced. They may tell you nice things to your face and then talk behind your back. They're doing it as a defense mechanism because of their immaturity. Or, I mean, there's a possibility that that it's a two-way street, where maybe you are, you know, feeding into it too. See, I don't want to always just assume that somebody's doing something to you. There could be like a back and forth thing. Because sometimes with the Five of Swords, it's an empty victory. So it could be that you win the battle and lose the war. Because if the Chariot means that you're winning something, you might win it at the expense of something else. And it's, I think in certain cases, like even if you really are an innocent victim to other people's, what do you want to call it, slander or whatever, you may go the route of the scorched earth policy, where you're like, I'm going to take this, I'm going to like, I'm going to just like, you know, file reports or whatever it is in your workplace, and you win the case, but you lose the war, because even though you get the promotion, or you get like some kind of money in retaliation or compensation for some kind of an unfair treatment, you're forced to be in a hostile environment. And this is one of the reasons why I personally would never go that route, because if somebody is going to have that mentality to single you out, and I wouldn't be surprised if Scorpios have this kind of recurring theme of being the the one who is the target, even though you're a very strong sign, that in and of itself can create enemies. And I've been thinking about this because I put out a video a while ago about the sun in the 8th house, which is like having the sun in Scorpio, because you rule the 8th house in astrology. So I put that out, and I have that placement, and I was thinking about myself. And I think that people who are scorpionic, either having the sun in Scorpio or, a prominent planet, or having the sun in the 8th house, they can rub people the wrong way because they know themselves and they know other people. They kind of see through other people, and people resent that. Okay, they want you to be their little lapdog, and they want you to kind of like be easily amused and be superficial, and you won't do that. And you may be kind of like self-possessed, where you have your own internal confidence. Doesn't have to be cockiness. You're kind of like somebody who is self-contained, and you don't need others' approval and stuff like that. And that really pisses people off, and that can make enemies, strong enemies. So the thing is that it's how you handle it. Sometimes Scorpios can be vengeful. And even if they're not doing something really underhanded or, bad, like vengefulness, this might be on the, taking legal cases might be the acceptable form of revenge, right? But even those can keep you embroiled in this, if you want to call it a power struggle or negative energy at the very least. And so this is why I say, if this is going on in your life in any way, if it's a divorce, if it's a work-related situation, taking the high road is, to me, always preferable. And even in a selfish way, because you can extricate yourself from the negative energy instead of sinking deeper into it. And so it's just a very interesting situation. I don't know how many of you relate to that, but that's just, what I wanted to say. What crosses you is represented by the 8 of Wands. And this is something that is connected to maybe things happening. In other words, you may feel a sense of stagnation, like you're not moving forward in your life. And I think if that's the case, it's because that sort of anal retentiveness. I don't know why I was going to say that word, but I think that Scorpio is associated with anal retentiveness. There's a retentive quality of Scorpio. It may rule, I think it rules the eliminative organs or something like that. And so that's another thing, like when, I think that's like a Freudian kind of a phrase or something. When the child is very young, that's all that they can control is, their ability to, go number 2, so they hold it in. Their mommy wants them to, make a duty, or something, and they can hold it in. And so that quality of control, power, that Scorpio kind of wrestles with can end up poisoning yourself. So you have to really let go and let go and let God, and then things will start to move. But there's that fixed energy of Scorpio, kind of like digging your heels in and not wanting to relent, being relentless, not wanting to give in, or surrender. Surrendering can be a very freeing thing for you. Forget about what it says to another person. Maybe you're afraid that it says, it's like the SOS, I give in. I'm, waving the flag of surrender. No, it's not saying that you lost. It's not, because you're not. It's not a battle. It's like the only thing you're really battling is yourself. If you continue to fight something that doesn't really have an outcome that's going to benefit you. And I'm thinking about that full moon in Aries, and I think about how Aries is such a battler, and the warrior energy. Well, the warrior has to know when to give in, when to give up the battle, and actually, what are they fighting for in the first place? Is it worth it? Is it worth your peace of mind? What's coming in, or the advice, is the Four of Wands. If this is advice, seek your own sanctuary, your home. Seek your own place that you can feel that you have a sense of peace. If you're in an environment that's very combative, then don't make your home like that. Have that positive energy in the home. The wands relate to joy. Okay, fire energy relates to joy. Now, yes, fire energy can be very aggressive. There's no question about that. But there's also a positivity, and so that can be really an important thing. Also, with the Four of Wands, there could be like a new home. Somebody might be buying a new home, or if you are traveling, you might have a new residence far away from where you have resided until just recently. And that may feel very exciting and be a happy time for you. And this is a marriage card too. So but I think it's like a happy home. So almost like the Ten of Cups, it could be a relief that a negative situation that you found yourself in is now much more, there's a lot more peace involved, and that could be very freeing for you. That's another thing about fire or wands energy is the freedom. And the outcome is the King of Cups. That's why I said some people may have a Cancer person in your life who is very caring and concerned. So, if I'm looking at this from a relationship standpoint, perhaps you were with somebody who was a fire or air sign, and you ended up with a Cancer. I'm saying Cancer because of the chariot, but the other water signs, of course, are your sign, Scorpio, and Pisces. The King of Cups can be a counselor or a clergy figure that you go to for some sort of guidance, or even like if you're into yoga, maybe you have a yoga teacher or somebody or a healer of some sort. So this could be like a very healing energy. Now, what I wanted to say about that the Knight of Swords, in contrast to the King of Cups, the Knight of Swords is kind of a very volatile type of a person. Somebody who is very, outspoken and maybe argumentative, and they may be intellectual, whereas the King of Cups, but there's like a youthful energy. So whether that person is chronologically younger than you, or just, I don't want to say immature, maybe they're just youthful and they are your age or even older. But the King of Cups is somebody who is very mature and emotionally mature. And so this person may be more in alignment with what you're into because you're both water signs, or they're just very emotionally aware, and they are coming from a place of a lot of I don't know, I was going to say understanding, but there was another word, insight. Maybe insight into your personality. Whereas, you know, and I think that with a Scorpio, I think Scorpios are very complex a lot of times. And you require a certain, you know, a very special person. I wouldn't be surprised if I took a survey if a lot of Scorpio people end up living alone because they find that they're more at peace than when they're in a relationship. I don't know if that's correct. But if a Scorpio person finds that special someone, it will be somebody who's very insightful and who kind of understands their complexity, their moods, their, you know, the way that you kind of like relate to things, and maybe your love of secrecy, maybe somebody who's like very diplomatic in that sense. They don't pry, they don't try to, you know, call you on that or anything like that. So in any case, this may even be like somebody who in the workplace, you know, a superior, like a boss type of figure who is very understanding. So you may have been surrounded by people who were very sarcastic. The Knight of Swords can be sarcastic. And you find a comforting, reassuring person to kind of like give you who gets you, you know, in a sense, I would say. So that's what I have for you, Scorpio. I hope that you received an uplifting message from this. If you'd like a personal reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.